as you were speaking, there was part of, as I heard it, where there was a sensation of almost what's the word I want to use? Like not surrendering, but to what you said about when, when the spirit, when the soul of God comes into you and you kind of then know truth, right? You can now see truth. There's almost an aspect of that which becomes, it relieves a burden where now you don't have to be trying to judge for yourself, right or wrong, punishment versus reward. You just know that there's a truth to that. But then as you kept explaining it, there's a piece where you said, like, am I going to act morally and ethically? And that seems to bring that burden back of you have to make a determination of what should I do here? I'm curious, is there, like, what is the sensation you feel in your life now? Is there a burden of you trying to figure out the right step? Or is it more of that sensation of, I don't have to even really think about it. I just know now what I need to do because I do have that spirit in me.
Exactly.
It's the latter.
The latter. Yeah. With that spirit in me, because with the spirit, you recognize truth, then you automatically recognize the untruth, right?
Right.
The big decision comes at that point. I mean, you can have the truth and have the spirit and still choose, to go the world's path. The difference is having that truth and understanding. Let me explain it this way. Yeah, you're right. Let me give an example. I go to a party, right? And I get inebriated and I have three options to get home. I can drive, which I've done before and made it home okay, no problem. Or I can catch a ride, or I can hire, Lyft or Uber or somebody. Well, when I'm on that path of right and wrong, or I'm just rolling the dice and I've made it home before, okay, so I can get home again. Well, three things can happen. I can get home okay, I can get arrested for DUI, or I can have an accident, which can harm me and or others, right? Well, if I get home, that's great. But the other two options can happen also, and they have costly and even dangerous consequences. And if I continue that behavior of driving drunk or driving under the influence, sooner or later, one of those other two things are going to happen. It's just, the odds run out on you getting home safe and sound. Knowing that and being cognizant of the truth of that situation, it's in my best interest to get home some other way, right? Rather than driving. I eliminate those other two possibilities almost 100%. That's the choice I have to make. And as I go further down my path of activating and using truth in my life, I see the blessings and the benefits of that over and over and over. I'm at a point now, and sounds crazy, but it's true. I have no stress, no pressure, no conflict in my life because I choose not to go to that place. If it's not truthful, then it won't be in my best interest. And my responsibility to myself and my family is to do the things that are in my best interest. That is to come from truth in my life. And you don't experience it until you start to activate it and live it. But once you start to live it, you start to see it working in your life, and the stress and the struggle and the pressure, you see it for what it is, and you simply don't go to that place. The universe is always in balance. It always strives for balance. And there's as much positive energy as there is negative energy. So that negative energy will always be looking for some place to land. And if you refuse to allow it to be a part of your life, it will go somewhere else. From a scriptural standpoint, Christ says, if you use my name and call on my name, you can rebuke the devil, because the devil has no power over the Spirit of Christ. The devil knows who he is. Satan knows how the story ends. His job is to get as many worshipers and followers as he can before the story ends. But he has no power against the Spirit of Christ. So if you deny him a place in your life, he will leave you alone. He has no choice. That's just the truth of spirituality. It's the same for negative energy. If you refuse that negative energy a place to land and get a foothold in your life, it will go somewhere else. There's plenty of people in the world, who accept it willingly so that they can be a martyr, or they can suffer, or they can complain, whatever it might be in their situation, but you don't have to go there.
Yeah, I love the thread you're on, and I don't. This might be a word jumble, so bear with me as I ask this question, because you said so many things that I think are worth trying to understand deeper and exploring, and I think about all the time, right? Like, so let me start here. When you're first talking about that truth that comes with letting Christ in and that spirit in, there's such a deep beauty to that, and it makes a lot of sense as you explain it. But I'll be honest, there's a part of me that I don't think I'm using hyperbole here, that's horrified by it. And the reason I say that has nothing to do with Christ or religion or anything like that. It's very much in the vein of I don't necessarily trust humans, the human mind, right? Which I think you would agree with. That's where Christ comes in. But whenever a human gets to a point where they say, I don't have any more stress, I don't have to question and challenge, I know the truth now, and it's just there for me, that horrifies me, because how do you know, right? Because that I think that sensation of comfort, of knowing that I don't have to challenge, I don't have to stress, I don't have to question, I just know what it is what we strive for, right? You spoke about God, Jesus, and the devil. I think both of those look exactly, both of us want to have that sensation. The devil wants us to have it, to stick with that, framing of it, in a way that we just do whatever is in our hedonistic best interest or whatever. We don't think about others, but it feels like absolutely right, and we don't have to think anymore about it. Then there's the other side where it looks very similar. It's almost the exact same thing in many ways. So that ability to decipher when it's okay for me to release and say, I just know the truth, I don't have to question, I don't have to stress, and feel okay about it. The approach I normally take in life is I'm horrified of getting to that point. So I'm always questioning and challenging, because I want to make the right moralistic, ethical decision. I want to try and be that good person, as you said, and think about others. How do you get comfort knowing, and I'll ask it, and I mean this with full respect, when we're talking about faith and religion in Christ, there's not a lot of like hard evidence of that where you could say, this is how I know this truth is the right truth and I can totally follow it, versus it's the one where I'm deceiving myself. What allows you that comfort to day by day live it and feel like, yeah, I'm at peace with it? I have no stress. I just know I'm doing the right thing now.